Okay, so I'm in my wall tool, I have my wall style selected, the one that I previously set up. So with rain screen, sheathing as the core component, and my gypsum board at 1/2 inch. If I look and see though, I can see that my walls don't have height. So what I need to do is edit the style, and actually these aren't the current style I'm working with, so I will just draw. This wall style still doesn't have height. Now what I can do, if they're existing walls, which in your case they are going to be, I'm going to go in with my walls selected, or one of the wall types selected, and I'm going to go and edit my style. So I don't need to like go into my wall preferences, create this new wall style. I want to edit the style of the walls that I've already drawn. So now I can see along the top, there's my definition, and that's where we change the components and edit them. There's also this insertion option. So if I select there, I can see that there's this height. And this height, there's a top bound and there's a bottom bound. So I'm going to, what I can do is I can specify this top bound. I'm actually going to place it top bound with my ceiling and my slab. And technically how we had it, the wall should still have height, right? Because it was, top bound was wall height, layer wall height, and bottom bound was layer elevation. But that's for the entire wall. And remember, there's also our wall style has multiple components. So this is where I change those insertion options for the entire wall. And now I'm going to go back to the definition, and I'm going to see that there's a top bound and a bottom bound for each of the components. So I need to go into my component. I can see here's this component top. It is relative to wall, but right now I'm going to change this relative to story, and I'm going to say ceiling. I'm going to change my component bottom relative to story and change that to slab. And everything else looks good. I'm going to hit OK. Now I can see how this is different in my wall style attributes. So I'm going to just make those changes to each of the components. We're going to be playing with these more later. Sheathing, I want it relative to story, but for now we'll just set it all the same. I want to auto join. This is my sheathing. I want the master snap points to be left side component, and hit OK. Relative to story, top bound, ceiling, relative to story, bottom bound, slab. And I don't want to be. Actually, I don't want to join that to count. So, last one.
So your like wood siding should be the same?
Same as what?
Like relative to the ceiling and slab?
We, like I said, we will be going over this and playing with each of these component heights, but for right now, let's have it all level, okay? It won't be, you've caught that, so that's good, but for now, we'll just leave it like that. So and because I went into my edit wall style, I don't have to save this preferences as wall style because I'm within the wall style, and I'm gonna hit OK. And see, now what happens is it brings up this wall replacement dialog box, because what I need to do, I'm not changing the width. In this case, I didn't change the width. So I'm going to leave all these left, center, right sides all the same, but I do want to make sure I'm replacing my heights. I'm just going to check replace textures, and rejoin wall components as well and hit OK. And there, voila, I have height. Okay,
What's the height?
voila.
What's the height?
I'll pause it. The height, I didn't put in a height because I made the top bound the ceiling and the bottom bound the slab. So I didn't actually specify any height because I did that in my layers and story setup. So if I want to change the height of this story, I'm not going to do it with the walls. I'm just going to do that in my story settings, and then it'll change all the components and objects automatically when I change it. So I just have to change it in one place, and it makes all the necessary modifications. So because we're setting things up, taking the time to set things up properly, when we want to make changes, it's very easy to do so.